All right, everybody, welcome back to the bench. Today, I want to talk about my 13.9-inch build that I had the upper built by Trajectory Arms. We'll walk through that real quick, and we'll go from there. But before we do, huge shout out to Brownells. Go head on over to Brownells, use code BOP10, save yourself 10% off of anything 150 or more over there. They're a huge sponsor of the channel. They did send a lot of this stuff out to the channel for review, so I can't thank them enough for everything they did. A lot of this stuff on this gun, they did send out for review, and I have reviewed it or talked about it in some way or another. And today we're going to talk about the Trajectory Arms built upper with a lot of the parts that Brownells did end up sending out. So let's just go ahead. We'll talk about this tip to butt. I'm just going to let you guys know what's in it, and we'll go from there. Dead air 3-prong flash hider. That's what I run. I do need to change it out. I'm probably going to go with the Griffin muzzle device at some point, but at the same time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been working. It's been working really well. 13.9 primary arms exclusive barrel from a Sons of Liberty Gunworks. Now these are the old Ballistic Advantage made barrels, so it is a Ballistic Advantage. It is not chrome lined, and I believe it's just QPQ'd, and I think it's phosphated. No, it's not phosphated. It's nitrided. So it's not phosphated. It doesn't have that phosphate coating, and it is just a nitrided barrel. There is no coating on the inside, no chrome line, no nothing like that. This is also built during the height of COVID. So I know that that's a dirty word, and I probably just had to blank that one out, but it was built at the height of, certain times. So when I got this barrel, I think it was like $130, so it actually wasn't that bad, but it is a primary arms exclusive barrel. I'm running a Forward Control Designs gas block that is pinned to the barrel. I did go with pinning because I wanted it to be bomb proof and I don't want it to break, so I like that. Midwest Industries 2-piece free float handguard. I have absolutely loved this handguard. This upper receiver is extremely lightweight along with the entirety of the rifle. With a loaded 30-round mag, I believe it's under 6 pounds how it sits right now, or maybe just at 6 pounds. A Surefire dual fuel turbo with a DS00 tail cap and a mod button light. I like that setup. It's just really good and it works really well. Plus, who doesn't like just simple things, It's simple setup. Yes, it's expensive, and I know that. When it comes to the bolt carrier group, it is currently sitting in there as a Sons of Liberty Gunworks bolt carrier group. I have changed the rings on it out a couple times, and I've changed out the extractor or the ejector spring. So I've changed that out. All of those are Springco parts on the inside. They come with Springco parts from what they say, but it's been really well and it works really good. Forward Control Designs dust cover / port cover. KE Arms upper receiver. This is the slick side version of that. I could have gone with an Aero Precision, but at the time the only ones that were in stock were the KE Arms, and I went ahead and bought theirs. Plus they're good company. You can head on over there, use code DEFEND2nd or DEFEND25 for all or whatever. You can save 25% off of all their stuff. They make really good stuff. Russell Fagan is a really nice guy, and I really like him. Scalarworks 193 mount, sitting there with a Comp M5. I really like the Comp M5, and I think the Scalarworks mounts, yes, while they are very expensive, they just work really well, and they hold zero. I actually took this off today I took this off to zero with with a scope, my Primary Arms 416 power scope, and I put this one back on, and it was still dead nuts on. Like, there was no problem. I was actually able to hit steel out to 300, no issues, and I've never had a problem with it. It's very nice. Geisley government charging handle. Now this is the slimmer version to the airborne charging handle, so it's actually a lot better, and I really like how it is. PWS lower receiver with the PWS ratchet castle nut and buffer tube, running a Springco red spring and a Griffin SOB buffer. Just running the standard BCM furniture along with a Geisley SSAE trigger, because the trigger that comes with the PWS lower, I don't like it. Yes, it's like a combat style trigger, but I'd much prefer an SSAE. And then the Forward Control Designs 50-degree ambi safety. I just love those safeties. They're probably the best safeties you can ever think of. I did not like at all the radian that was on there. The radian was just kind of, is mush, and I don't like it. The Forward Controls is a lot more positive, better, just feels better overall, and it fits me. Now, that may not fit you, and I completely understand. You may love the radian, and I'm a-okay with that. It's just up to you. Here is some footage of me shooting at the range. It's not going to be very long, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the gun, because the gun, I think, is probably the best part. I did shoot this outside in the rain and not in the rain today. It was kind of rainy, kind of not, a little bit of wind. 100 yards with a 4-16 power scope, not from a bipod, but from a bag. So there we go. This is quite a big group, but I said 4-16 power scope suppressed with a dead air Sandman. This was a Sandman K, by the way. This was a very nice group. We got to find center to center here. This looks like it's in millimeters. Hold on. There we go. 3.39 inches. 3.5 inches. We'll call that 3.5 inches. That's a big group. If we go with the smaller group right in here, 2.5 inches. Again, PMC bronze is nothing to write home about. So now we're going to look at the 73 grain burger. Not a bad round here. We're going to go 2.97. That's actually not a terrible group. That's just a little bit over, so probably 2.95. Not a bad group, just under 3 inches at 100 yards. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is probably the worst performing barrel I've seen the 73 grain burger in. Worst performing, but it is consistent overall, and that's it's up to you. You can say what you want, but these are 10 round groups. These are not 5 round groups. So now we're at the Black Hills 77 grain. Again, 10 round groups. We are looking at 2.95 for our largest group here. As you can see, it did kind of want to give us groups in different areas. Now again, this barrel is very, 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 very shot out. This barrel has not, it still has rifling, it still has everything it needs, and it is not, it's not doing anything crazy, but this has a lot of rounds through it. I would probably say a total of about 12 to 15,000-ish rounds through this barrel. It is very, very heavily beat up. Plus, I don't clean barrels. Usually when I clean barrels, they have a tendency to get worse. And I haven't cleaned this barrel in a very long time. If anything, I think the only thing I've run through it is the bore snake, and it just had some sort of break free on there. It wasn't anything crazy. Like I don't clean a barrel, I don't get out copper deposits or anything like that. I will say, I have had the Federal 69 grain Sierra Match King. I've had that perform really well in a lot of other guns. And I will say, Sons of Liberty Gunworks, if you want to send out one of your broadsword barrels, I will have this upper receiver rebarreled to a broadsword barrel upper. Those barrels look really nice. I will say, Sons of Liberty Gunworks, if you want to send out one of your newer barrels, your Sons of Liberty V2 barrels, your Cold Hammer Forged chrome lined ones, those ones I would love to take a look at, but I know that I'm a small creator and nobody cares. But the 69 grain Sierra Match Kings have performed really well. I believe this is over an inch, but not too far over an inch. Right here, we're sitting center to center, just under, not very big whatsoever. 1.28 inches. That's a very good group at 100 yards, 10 rounds. These were like the first 6 rounds right here, and then I just started opening up. It's a very, very, very good performing round. And I highly recommend the Gold Medal Match Federal 69 grain Sierra Match King 223 loaded. Those always perform very good in a lot of different barrels that I have. I would say that is a good 2-inch or less round. Now, you can hand load and get this probably down to every round touching and doing all that. It's just one of those things where, it is what it is. The gun, let's talk about it. The stock BCM gunfighter and the grips, whatever, I don't know which mod they are. Some nerd down below will tell us. I think they're a really good option. I like that they did come on the PWS lower. This is the fully assembled one from PWS. The only thing I have changed is the safety selector, as I've stated, from the Radian. I just don't like it, to the forward control designs. And then I swapped out the trigger from their, I think it's like a PNT style. It's either the BCM PNT style because they use BCM furniture, or it is some sort of Geisley or ALG combat trigger, their ACT one. Great options for those, especially for beginners. I myself, though, have gone down the road of being an ultra trigger snob, and I know that that's probably not a good thing for myself, but that's the route that I went. So I went with the Geisley SSAE trigger. I actually just bought another one off of a buddy of mine that he was selling his, and it was a great deal, and I couldn't be upset about it. So with the Geisley SSAE trigger, I think it's a fantastic trigger. I really like it. I haven't tried out the SSA yet. I think the SSA might be a better trigger for a home defense gun. But I have the SSAE, and that's what we're going to go with. I do like the straight triggers more, But I will state, I mean, being a trigger snob, the curved trigger or the straight trigger, I guess I'm not as in one camp or the other anymore as I used to be. I was very vehemently on the straight pull trigger or the straight bow triggers for the trigger shoe, but I honestly don't mind a little bit of the curve in there, especially when the triggers are so freaking good. I believe you can go down the SDE route or the SDC route if you want to have an SSAE, but with the straight pull. But I mean, either way, the SSAE is consistently on sale. Brownells just did a flash sale of them too, not too long ago. And I think they were like 155 or something like that, or maybe 159 along that route. The trigger, fantastic, of course. I haven't really changed anything else. I haven't upgraded the magazine catch spring, none of that stuff. It just tends to work. I never touch the buffer tube or anything like that. I will say the point of contention on this is the ratcheting castle nut and end plate. I have not had an issue yet. Then again, I don't have that many rounds on the lower. I think we're at like 1,000 or maybe 1,500 now. But I am not like heavily invested in that. If I ever have to take it off, I will probably just replace it with a standard. What I normally do is the BCM QD socket end plates with the forward control designs castle nuts. Those are just fantastic. And I really like those. They feel good. They're lightweight. I like the Cerakoting on them if you go with the Cerakote options, or just the black is also nice too. When it comes to the foregrip, the Unity one, I broke one, but not really. There's 3 posts on the inside. You can kind of choose if you want to have 2 or 1. I believe this is the broken one that I put on here with the single post in the center. It works really well. I have no issue with it. I think what ended up happening is how I broke it is I really just over torqued the crap out of it on my 13.9 BRN 180. And that's really what it was. But I like the feel. I like how short it is. It just works really, really well for what I want. And yeah, that's where that comes from there. The Surefire light, it's very expensive. Do you need it? No. You will need a light. I do recommend if you want to go on a cheaper option, I highly recommend the Streamlights. And I highly recommend not using their pressure switches. The Streamlight makes the great flashlight, but their pressure switches are horrible. Arasaka makes an adapter so you can do their HLX or their HL lineup, and you can adapt it to the Surefire switches. I would, if you're going to go down that route, definitely do that. Dead Air. Now, a lot of people don't like Dead Air. I like the Dead Air Sandman K. In fact, I just bought it off a friend of mine, and I am about to do my Form 4 for that. So I'm not upset about that. He didn't like the Dead Air. He didn't like it at all. I don't mind it. It's not a bad can. It works out for what I wanted to. It takes the edge off and all that. Do I like the Sandman S or the Sandman L? Not really. They're very heavy, very long cans. Not my cup of tea. The K is literally like the perfect size. It works really well. I think it's 3, maybe 4 baffles. I'm pretty sure it's 3. And it just works. It takes the edge off. It's what I want for a 5.56 gun. It is not going to be quiet. I don't need it to be quiet. I just need it to be hearing safe, if that barely. And that's what it is. It's great. You can go with any other switch that you want to. There are a ton out there. I like the mod button light switch, first of all, for simplicity. I will probably pick up the 45-degree HRF ramps for those at some point. But the DS00 tail cap is very expensive. That DS00 is, I think, like $150 just for the tail cap, and it doesn't include literally anything else other than the tail cap. So it's insanely expensive, and it is what it is. Now, getting into the barrel, as I've said, this barrel has been heavily abused. Thousands of steel case rounds have gone through it. I want to say anywhere between 10 to 12,000 rounds of steel case went through this gun alone. I've had to replace the extractor, the extractor on here before, because I have just sheared it off, but that's not the gun's fault. I'm literally putting the worst ammo through the gun ever. It is a Sons of Liberty Gun Works bolt carrier group. It has lived that way since I got it back from Trajectory Arms. I sent them a Roscoe bolt carrier group, and then they put this, and then I literally got this sent out from Brownells, and I slapped it in here, and it's been working, and I sheared the extractor and did all that other fun stuff. And as I said, it is not the bolt carrier group's fault. Running brass, it's had no problems, and Sons of Liberty Gun Works did not pay to replace it. I did it myself. It's not that freaking hard. People just pop out a cam pin and go from there. The Geisley government charging handle, not 100% sold on that charging handle. I just like the aesthetics. If you want to say that that's kind of dumb, I totally agree. It is a waste of money, but I do think that guns have a purpose, and I think that that purpose is whatever you make it. If you just want a cheap gun, buy a cheap gun. That's your life. That's your rules. If that's what your family's worth, all right. Forward control designs. I love their dust covers. I don't care what anybody says. I love their dust covers. I know they're stupid. They are expensive. They're like 4 times the price of every other dust cover out there on the market, and it is what it is. But that's the gun. This is what I like. This is how it goes. Aim point on that 193 mount. I mean, you're never going to get me away from the 193 mounts. I love them. I don't mind the 2.26 height mounts at all. The 193 height mounts are, my bread and butter. The Comp M5 has been abused and abused and abused and abused, and it's just a great little optic, and it just runs. This gun runs, and it's going to continue to run until the barrel is shot out, because it is not a chrome lined cold hammer forged barrel. Also, that Midwest Industries is a rifle length. I think it's 12.65 inches. It's their rifle length one. I threw it on here because that is what I wanted, and I had it Cerakoted by my friend Trigger Dad over there. He's an awesome guy. So, huge shout out to him. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, be a hoodlum. Beep. So we just pulled this out of my upper receiver, and I've never seen a round get stuck inside of another shell casing like that. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't know how the hell that happened, but that's a malfunction you don't see every day.